Alright people, this is Brad the Lad back again with another video, and this is the Phil Neville Show. Oops, got a bit of a cut there. So, let's talk about Wednesday's Premier League fixtures. So we've got some absolutely juicy ones tonight. We've got Man United against Spurs, obviously the big game of the day. Liverpool against Everton, Merseyside derby. Chelsea, Aston Villa, that could be an interesting one. Obviously, the return of John Terry as the assistant manager of Villa, coming back to Stamford Bridge, and Frank Lampard facing his old teammate, kind of. And Dean Smith actually beat Lampard in the Championship playoff final. Sorry, that's something there. It's disturbing me. So, what I would say is, I think Man United are going to lose tonight, unfortunately, against Spurs. I'm not absolutely dreading it. You know, I'm not like quaking in my boots about the game. You know, I'm not being disrespectful to Spurs, but I know that we can turn up when it's important. I've heard Martial's injured, which is a blow to the team, but he didn't play well against Villa at the weekend. But I know we can turn up even without key players. I mean, we turned up against Liverpool, didn't we? We turned up, you know, and I think when everybody said we'd lose to Leicester at home, we beat them 1-0. You know, and I just think, you know, there's no need to be all extra negative. I understand our fans are frustrated, but, you know, we don't need to be petrified going into every single game, because it's making me negative. I'm trying to be positive in many, you know, for many different reasons. To help me in a personal way, obviously because I suffer with anxiety and stuff, and I don't want to make myself more negative. And I try and avoid negativity. I try to very, very hard. Anyway, this video isn't about me, but you know, this is you know, and I think Liverpool against Everton, could it be Marco Silva's final game as the Everton manager? Jurgen Klopp thinks if Everton win tonight, it would solve all of Marco Silva's problems. I'm not too sure whether that would make a difference. I don't know. Chelsea Villa's an interesting one. Southampton against Norwich, that's a really interesting one. 18th against 19th in the Premier League. Two of the worst defences in the top flight. I think that will be a really interesting one. Crystal Palace have gone up to 5th in the Premier League after beating Bournemouth last night. It had 10 men. Mamadou Sakho got a red card. I think it was the right decision from the referee, Taylor. But I do feel a little bit sorry for him, because he was trying to win the ball. Roy Hodgson said it. I've looked at it myself. It's a red card, but it's unfortunate. I don't think Sakho meant to do that, but he is going to miss the next few games. And Taylor's actually in charge of the Manchester derby, like he was last year as well. I really don't mind. I think he's a good referee. I'm sure he'll do a good job at the weekend, whatever happens. But yeah, and also Manchester City won 4-1 at Burnley yesterday. A very, very good win for them. And they're trying to close the gap on Liverpool and Leicester City. You know, if Liverpool don't get a result tonight against Everton, Leicester could close it to 5 points. It's say if Everton win tonight, which is highly unlikely. Sorry, Everton fans. But they could cut the gap to 5 points if Leicester beat Watford tonight, who are managerless going into tonight's game. So, interesting stuff all around. And the Premier League's hotting up. And obviously, people say, could this be Solskjaer's last game? Apparently, Pochettino wants to be the Manchester United manager. He wants to replace Solskjaer. Could this be his final game? Could Jose Mourinho come and upset the United fans and get Ole the sack? Emery's gone. Poch's gone. Could Solskjaer be next? You know, there's so many managers that could go. I mean, you know, obviously Solskjaer's one of them, Silva's one of them, possibly Hasenhüttl. I don't know. I think that win over Watford at the weekend keeps him in the job for a little bit longer and gives Southampton a fighting chance of survival. Arsenal have got Brighton tomorrow, and Sheffield United play Newcastle. Two teams are doing quite well in the Premier League. You know, Newcastle, I thought they'd finish rock bottom. I thought they'd be rock bottom, but under Steve Bruce, I thought they were preparing already for the Championship. the way the things that were going looked like it was heading that way. That one win over us against Man United has like changed everything. I think they lost to Chelsea after that, and then they've just picked up some really good results. They drew with Man City at the weekend. They've really, really impressed me with Newcastle, and I think they will be safe in the Premier League. But things could change again. You never know. But this is just the drama of the Premier League. So yeah, interesting stuff all around really in the Premier League. So last week, let's go into last week. So there was a few surprise results in there. Chelsea lost 1-0 against West Ham. Aaron Cresswell got the winner. David Martin, who was signed from Millwall, Alvin Martin's son, who was a former West Ham defender. I never saw him play, obviously, being a youngster. But he was the goalkeeper at the weekend, and he was crying. He apparently couldn't eat before the match. And he made some terrific saves and replaced Roberto, who has been terrible. And yeah, West Ham got a big win, and that eases the pressure on Manuel Pellegrini. West Ham play tonight against Wolves, and I think the pressure could come back on him if they lose again tonight. I'm sure David Martin will get his place in the goal tonight as well as the number 2 goalkeeper. So I think that was a really, really interesting result there. And Man United dropping points against Aston Villa, drawing 2-2, went 2-1 up. Seconds later, Villa get a corner, ball comes out, cross the ball back in, goal goes in. I watched 2 games. I watched Southampton against Watford, and I watched Norwich against Arsenal. Those are the games I was focusing on for the weekend, and I'll tell you what, I really, really enjoyed the Norwich-Arsenal game. I'll get onto that in a moment, but I think I'm going to focus on the Southampton-Watford game first. Southampton, this will be a good boost for Norwich because Norwich have got 4 points in the last 2 games against Everton and Arsenal. And they go to Southampton tonight. Southampton are petrified to play at home. I know they won at the weekend and they played well in the second half. They massively improved, but they were scared. They were making silly mistakes. They were trying to get forward, and Watford just were handling them quite well. And in the second half, Danny Ings gets an equaliser. There could have been a handball, though. This is the thing about VAR. There was 2 things about VAR. I'll get onto that in a moment. There was a handball by Dujanepo, but they didn't get a replay after the goal was scored. They got the replay later on when Southampton went 2-1 up, which is strange. And then in the Tottenham-Bournemouth game, there was no communication that said that we're checking for the goal, that we're checking the goal, and we're disallowing the goal. So the goal was disallowed for handball. But yeah, it's strange. Really, really bizarre, really. It was accidental, but according to the rules, it shouldn't have stood. So Southampton got away with that one a little bit, and that changed the game. And I think, it's been cruel to Watford, of course. So yeah, it has been quite interesting. Norwich against Arsenal was a really enjoyable spectacle. I really love watching that game. I thought it would be a really good game, and it was a really good game. Norwich took the lead through Timu Pukki. Arsenal were the better team for a large majority of the game. Arsenal could have been 3-0 up from some decent set pieces there. Krull just managed to get one away from the goal. One was cleared off the line. And there were another one where they came really close. I think just one went wide of the post. Pukki wanted to score a deflected shot. Then Arsenal got a penalty. Had to retake it. Good spot from the referee on the day, Paul Tierney, who gave the penalty. Handball by Zimmerman. Don't know what he was doing. Put his hand up in there. He's clearly just pushed by David Luiz. It wasn't. It was a push, I don't think. And then Aubameyang missed the penalty. Aaron's encroached, and then Aubameyang scored again, and then Aubameyang scored. Then Cantwell put Norwich back in front, and then Aubameyang scored again. And they were just Norwich should have won the game in the second half. They were the better team. So we're nearly into the 10-minute mark. Into the 10-minute mark now, and we're going to talk about the sackings of Unai Emery and Quique Sanchez Flores.